Stavros Tousios for M4Markets. Today we're going to look at Nasdaq and also it was EURAUD. Yeah. Starting off with Nasdaq, we have seen a good upside that we've actually just broken the 61.8. I would say not just, it was just back in June. And we remain closer to the 1450 territory rather than closer to the 1400. The area though, below that low of 1420 or from the 1420 all the way down to the 1400 first, it's quite critical in case we start falling. We do see that there is a divergence on the RSI and prices, so an actual move to the downside could be expected at some point based on momentum divergence. Now, whether this is going to be a reversal or a simple correction is going to be determined from many different factors, but one of the things that we'll have to pay attention to is the 1373 or so swing high over here, as well as of course the 50% Fibonacci retracement, because 50 is where bias and sentiment change. Now here's one important thing, just ahead of I mean, it's already taken place, that move to the upside, but if you just copy and paste that channel on the top of one another pretty much, and we can use the channel stop, the initial channel, as the median line. We see that actually markets have accelerated quite a bit. We have done, if we assume this is like a 2 standard deviation from that mean, you know, we've actually gone 2 more standard deviations higher, and we are actually trading above that deviation high as well, which is around the 61.8 Fibonacci retracement level at 1433 or so, 35. Okay, in case there is further continuation, it's going to be very hard to make it past the 1500 handle, I believe, and above maybe 1500 or so. Whereas, and combined with the divergence, there could be a little bit more chance of some sort of consolidation and perhaps a continuation to the downside here, as we see a very short-term move to the downside, as long as we break 14.2022. Okay. Now, when it comes to euro against the Canadian dollar, here's something important here. We have had a very like a major signal to the downside, as you can see here from the double divergence on the daily, right over here, and we started to fall, and on the 4 hours we're going to see that we have a double bottom formation here, and this is probably where prices are heading now, because these levels typically are like operating in some sort of way as a magnet zone. And this is also where our 38.2 lies, around 142.60 or so, 17. Now, this could lead to 3 different outcomes. Continuation to the upside, bounce and continuation to the downside, break, retest, and further continuation to the downside. Typically, and because it's 38 as well, we would expect to see some sort of respite and further continuation to the downside, and that at the same time might also offer us an actual head and shoulders pattern. Okay, so if indeed this is going to be like a head and shoulders, we would expect that bottom to offer a bounce, perhaps all the way up to around the 146 it's like 146.20 or so, which happens to be the 23.6 Fibonacci retracement. Okay, and from there, of course, we would be looking for another leg down to around the 137.28 in the medium to long term. Now, note you also that we have somewhat of a divergence over here, guys. Okay, so it would be no surprise at all that we actually see a bounce over here, whether this ends up being a head and shoulders pattern or not. And in the very short term, just drag your Fibonacci from the regional high down to that low, assuming it's going to be here. Look for the 50 breakout, or even if you want to do it in the more traditional way, look at the break within this channel, or the break above the more accelerated move to the downside, which is around the 143.30, 143.40 territory.